Hey, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. Hope you all are having a good day. I'm having a great day. I'm going to talk a little bit about elderberries here and making elderberry tincture. I've had people ask questions on that, and I just had a great comment on the last one over on Patreon by J. Johns. And I'll get into that in a minute. But people have asked me how you go about it. It's the simplest thing in the world. I'm going to show you in a minute and explain it to you. First, I have to make it to give an apology, make an apology, and an explanation before I get to that. Um, Recently, the community of you all in the comments have become so prolific and so interesting, and that I haven't been able to get around and answer everyone like I like to. It's always been one of my pleasures, not just to read your comments, but to be able to respond to each one in some way or another. And I found that on a couple of them recently, I just didn't have time. I wasn't able to get around to them. I give everything, every comment, and I read all of them. I give all of them a heart that shows that I read it. If it's something that I'm not sure that what somebody's getting at, if it's borderline, it's not so much that I want to delete it because I'm not sure, then maybe I just won't leave a heart there. I don't want anybody to think that I agreed with it. And I don't necessarily agree with everything that I give a heart to. It just means that, hey, I read it. It's certainly within the bounds of acceptability. If it disagrees with something I said or whatever, that's okay. Excuse me. But I always give a heart. Um, and then I'll try to give some kind of answer because I enjoy the interaction. I enjoy the conversation. Wasn't able to on a couple of them. If I just get a chance to give a thumbs up in the comments, I try to do that. So thank you so much. You guys are, like I've said before, I think I've got the smartest commenters on YouTube. It's just fascinating to me. I think everybody learns a lot from reading the comments. So I have to apologize now. Um, I'm thankful that the channel is growing. If I'm not able to answer everybody, and I know a lot of people have come back and said, I never expected you to answer me anyway. Well, it's just something that I've always liked to do. So if I'm not able to, please accept my apologies for that. Um, and welcome to all of you new people. We've had a lot of people. We just hit kind of a milestone. I don't put the number of subscribers up because I don't want that to be something that's necessarily the focus of anything. The focus should be the message and the comments and all that. I'll just share with you that we did kind of hit a milestone there. So welcome to all of you there, and welcome to everybody, all the new people that are over on Patreon, and we continue to grow over there. Um, Something that I want to explain for those of you who have joined me over on Stonemont Church, the Stonemont Church channel, and I guess I'll leave a link to that down here again. I don't know that I'll do it regularly, but I know that a lot of people had an interest in one of my past videos, which made me decide to go ahead and put on the Stonemont Church channel. It's where I will put up some of the sermons that I do at our home church, or maybe I'll just talk about different things. But I noticed I did not monetize it, and I have no intentions of monetizing that. It's not the reason that I put it up. But I noticed that there are ads on it. And I guess this is something that YouTube can do of their own. And so they're making money off of it. So if you go there and you see ads on, I did not put those ads in. I have not monetized that channel. That's not the purpose. I had people ask, so I have put an associated Patreon channel along with it for people, whoever would like to, support the channel. That'd be great. But monetization was not my deal on that. So that's the apology. That's the explanation for the Stonemont channel. And now to elderberry. Somebody asked how you do elderberry. Let me start first by saying, and I know a lot of people were have known about elderberries for a long time, but for those of you who haven't, I'll just shortly explain my introduction to elderberries. And that was several years ago. Oh, some years, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 years ago. A buddy of mine and I were talking to a doctor that we knew. And it was during flu season, and he was just kind of chortling, and he says, I'll tell you how I never get the flu again. You don't have to get the flu shot. And, of course, we were interested in that. And he said that he had been, and I know I've told this story before, but he had been doing his residency at Johns Hopkins, and they brought over somebody from Bethesda Naval Hospital who was dying of the flu. Essentially, he was so close to death, they thought maybe something at Johns Hopkins. I don't know what, but they brought him over as a last-ditch, effort. And there was a doctor there, a woman whose name escapes me, who said that, and they called in this guy's family. They said he's not going to make it to tomorrow. And so all the family came in. This doctor said that she, felt that she might be able to help him if they were willing to go along with essentially an experimental treatment. And they said, well, we don't have anything to lose. You go ahead. And so she made up some kind of concoction out of elderberries, and it was a old family recipe or something. And they administered it to him. I'm not sure how, intravenously or by mouth. I don't know. And I forget even whether he told me. But they said that the next day this guy was sitting up in bed eating lunch. And so that made me a believer in elderberries. I know sometimes my kids, and Kelly teases me, what's an elderberry? Because that's my drawl, elderberry. It's elderberry. So that made me a believer. So I got some elderberry bushes, and I planted them. And I'll tell you how to do that in a minute. And after a few years, man, we started cranking out more elderberries. Up until that time, we bought sambucol, and actually, I think that the sambucol was the name of the company that this doctor, I think she developed it. And the sambucol is called that because the elderberry, the dark elderberry that grows here in North America, is called the Sambucus negra, the black Sambucus. And you can buy it under other names, Sambucus, I think, and Sambucol, and all sorts of things. Well, I started growing it, and pretty soon we had enough. We didn't have to buy Sambucol anymore. And so I want to tell you how to do it. It's simple as pie. Kelly put a bunch of these up. First off, after it takes about 3 years for them to come in. I didn't make a video on me out there cutting them off. But you cut them off. They just come in big clusters, and mine were so heavy. I mean, they were. I probably got 15 pounds of berries. And you just cut off the branch and just kind of tickle them off into a bowl. The little berries. You don't want to stand out there and pick them off individually. You'll be out there till spring. But just kind of tickle them off into a bowl and give them a rinse. And then we have so many we weren't ready. We froze them for a couple of days until. Yesterday or the day before, Kelly decided to go ahead and put them up. And all she did, we just got a bunch of jars, okay, and washed them out, sterilized them, and you probably don't have to, but she filled up the jars to about an inch at the top, 3/4 of an inch. I don't have it over there where you can see it. Sorry, I should be more there. There you go. And with berries, and then filled the rest with vodka, and it makes a tincture. Essentially, what a tincture is soaking of a fruit with alcohol, which extrudes then the nutrients from the fruit or the berry, and then later on you pour it out. Well, anyway, I'll get to that in a second. So that's what a tincture is. So she filled it up with vodka, cheap vodka, and you need at least 40 proof. I think ours is, 40 or 50 proof. And it takes at least 40 proof, better 50, to be able to extrude those nutrients. So you put them in the things. I'll show you. See it? I'll turn it around here. See it? There we go. Yeah. See that? There. So she put a bunch of those. Put those up. Got a dozen. We got more to do. And that's all you do. Fill it up with. Am I in this? Doesn't matter if I'm in the right place or not, does it? And about every day, you just give them kind of a shake like this. Get them stirred up. Put them back. And you're good. You wait for about 6 to 8 weeks. And then they're ready to go. You open them, you strain it out. You strain the fruits out of the liquid. You save the liquid, and you can then you take a teaspoon a day, or when you start feeling a little dodgy, you take a teaspoon in the morning, one at lunch, one in the evening, and you're good. Now, a couple of interesting things about elderberries. When I found this out, so it's an old remedy. It's not new. Because when I told this to my mother several years ago, she told me, well, yeah, everybody used to have a decanter of elderberry wine on their dining room table. And whenever anybody got a little sniffle or feeling dodgy, they'd go in and they'd have a short glass of that wine, and darn if they didn't get to feeling better. Kelly's also, she's going to make some syrup. From some more that we have. We still have more coming in. And then she's going to make some gummies for the kids. And I won't get into how, I don't know how to do that. That's her gig. Speaking of gigs, I'll show you something else in just a minute. Over on the Patreon channel, which also the link is down below, Jay Johns put up an excellent recipe for syrup that he makes for it. So I encourage you to go over and see that. If you don't already belong to our Patreon channel, I invite you to, and I'll tell you what, his recipe is worth the dollar that you pay to go over there. And that's another thing that I love. I talk about us being a community, and you all certainly are making it that. But the community on Patreon is even dives deeper, and I enjoy it. If it wasn't mine, I'd pay $1 to read your guys' comments. So anyway, start off one more thing. We were talking about the other day economic freedom, and I think I've mentioned in the past that Kelly has a number of interests. One of which is soap. She makes what do you call them? Well, naturally homemade, but what would you call them? Custom, or I don't know. She makes soaps. Does very well. She does some of the shows and the large crafts festivals around this area. Always sells out, and she makes the most beautiful soaps. She will be turning that into a year-round business here in the next few months after she gets done with a couple of big shows that she always sells out, and then she's got to make more. The good thing about that, and you can, whatever business you can think of starting, it's good. It's good for you. It helps other people too. It doesn't just give you financial independence, but it's good for other people who would like good quality products. When you go to the store and you buy these soaps, you're not buying soap. You're buying chemicals. And I didn't realize that until she started making soap. I just want to show you one that she just cut today. She cut a loaf of this. And my house smells great because she's always got this stuff going on. She just made a loaf of this coffee scented soap. And it smells, when I came down today, the smell when you come downstairs in the morning and the coffee's been brewing? For those of you who love the smell of coffee, and I do, even though I like Folgers Instant, but I love the smell of it. And she made this, and it smells like the whole house is brewing coffee. And on the top are some coffee beans and some grounds that actually come from a mix that we get from Big Cedar down by Table Rock Lake. You've heard me talk about Big Cedar kind of being our home away from home, and we always get their coffee down there. So she put, if you can see that, some of the coffee grounds up there. Well, now this is soap in it. Excuse me, I'll shut off my wash. This isn't chemicals. This is lye and fats and I don't know what else. She's explained it all to me. I just got around to being able to pronounce saponification. I don't really know what that means, but there you are. For a moment, I sounded like I did, didn't I? So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. Some people have asked, and yes, I do actually. We have some plans in the works down the road. We're expanding some of our business interests, and she will be starting an online store here pretty soon. And I've asked her to make a line, and I've selected the fragrances and the colors and everything. I have asked her to produce a Stonemont line that are the kinds that I would have at Stonemont. And if any of you are interested in some of that, it's not going to be coming up in the next month or two, but maybe after the first of the year, we'll just kind of see how things go. We don't hurry these things. We want to do them right and enjoy it. So there that is, man. I wish you all. If I hold it up closer, you think you can smell it? I wish you could. Anyway, that's the thing on elderberries. It is one of the greatest things, with the medical mess that we're going through right now. Staying healthy is one of the most important things you can do, and enhancing your immune system. You definitely want to do that. So if you don't have access to elderberries yourself to make this, you saw how simple it was. I would suggest you stock up on the Sambucol or the Sambucus, and it comes in different trade names or label names. And keep yourself healthy in that, because I tell you what, staying out of hospitals is a lot better than trying to get well while you're in one, right? Okay, I'll leave it at that. You all have a great day. I'm going to go over and make here, if I have time. I've got some things to do. I'm going to make one here shortly over on Patreon about lessons from undercover that I think will serve everyone well as we come into this new interesting time. And, and then I'll see you all later. I remind you that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And there's no better preparation than being able to do stuff yourself, stay healthy, right? And develop your business and use natural products. Get rid of these chemicals that we surround ourselves with and fill ourselves with. God gave us a pharmacy of his own all around the world, and it's full of things that we ought to be using, except instead of these poisons that they're wanting to crank into us all the time. You all have a good day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.